The Patrick Mahomes family has caught the ire of the NFL community for years, and it's mostly due to their own actions at this point. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the downward spiral of the Mahomes family and why so many people hate them in the NFL world. The many controversies. It all started back when Patrick Mahomes really started to gain popularity in the NFL. Mahomes' wife, Brittany Matthews, started the controversy off by sharing multiple bikini photos and claiming that this was for all the haters that think Patrick could be doing so much better in terms of finding a lover. Another issue came a few years later with Patrick's mother, Randy. Randy started to stir some up by heading onto social media and attacking ESPN announcers over how they were calling and pronouncing Mahomes' name. They were calling Mahomes Patrick throughout the entire game and had been doing so for a while. Randy was upset that they weren't calling him Pat. Pat was a nickname that his father had when he was still competing as a pitcher in the MLB while bouncing around the league. His son made sure to adopt the name Patrick so that he wouldn't be confused with his father, but apparently Randy had her own plans. The announcer later had to apologize for what had happened, even though it was a very simple mistake. The family made headlines even further when both Randy and Brittany took to social media for different circumstances. Randy was seen ripping up LeBron James after he walked off the court early during a loss, while Brittany called for a New England Patriots player to be ejected from the game after Mahomes had a noticeable flop. Don't worry, a few days later, Brittany decided to come back and tear into the NFL's officiating crews over calls that they didn't give to the Kansas City Chiefs. Then, she wrapped up this eventful month by telling all of her critics that she won't be responding to them or allowing them to get under her skin. We continue on through this timeline now. Matthews was seen on Twitter saying, "Sorry, you can't touch him," after Jason Pierre-Paul was randomly and unnecessarily called for roughing the passer on him. The decision to tweet something of that nature, despite claiming that the officials are horrible one-sided against the Chiefs, was a bold move to say the least. After this came the Super Bowl that Mahomes and the Chiefs lost to the Buccaneers. Matthews claimed that the metrics analysts used to compare players against one another shouldn't matter. She disliked the people that use these metrics, which is basically the whole reason why they exist. Later on, she was upset that ESPN was claiming that Mahomes was the baby goat when playing against Tom Brady. ESPN shared some pictures after the Chiefs' loss of a sad Mahomes down the stretch, with Randy going out of her way to tag Gisele Bundchen, Brady's now ex-wife, and inferring that the officials had a hand in helping the Buccaneers win the game. Then, the outside distractions really started to show in Patrick's life. His brother Jackson and Brittany posted a video on TikTok of them dancing in the middle of a restaurant, with Patrick being able to be seen in frame. And believe me, he did not look happy to be there and watching that in the slightest, as he tried to keep on eating his food. Going into the next season, Matthews tore through Brown safety Ronnie Harrison after he pushed a coach on the sidelines during a scuffle, which was weird considering that the coach pushed Harrison first, and he responded by a shove back at him. Then Jackson followed up the annoyance up in the following week by pouring a water bottle on a group of fans who were heckling him over how the game was going. Jackson did so over their heads while sitting in the safety of his luxury box. Then came the absolute worst day for the Mahomes family. The Chiefs were taking on the Washington football team with Brittany, Jackson, and Randy all on the field that day. Randy is the first one that we'll talk about here, as she claimed Mahomes' interception in the red zone simply shouldn't count because the receiver made contact with the football before it was intercepted. Matthews came right out there as well and claimed that the referees were helping Washington win the game and ripped up her haters once again on social media, the haters that she claimed to be ignoring. Then came the worst part of it all. Jackson posted a video of himself dancing on the memorial and on-field tribute of legendary safety Sean Taylor. It's 10 times worse when you realize that the area he was standing on was completely roped off with chairs. making it an actual challenge to step over and get onto that particular patch of grass. He could have recorded that video anywhere he wanted, but chose the only place he shouldn't have been. I wish that it all ended here, but Jackson came back out of the woodworks by ripping up a very small cocktail bar in Kansas City. He had a variety of complaints against them, and it appeared like he wanted to ruin their establishment by giving them bad publicity. Instead, that property issued a Facebook post in response to his statements and just tore into him, claiming that he had a sense of entitlement because of his brother, among a few other statements that had the internet rolling in laughter. Shortly after, Brittany popped back up by claiming that the referees were the reason that the Chiefs lost to the Cincinnati Bengals in the regular season finale. She came around again 2 weeks later when the Chiefs beat the Buffalo Bills in the divisional round. In celebration, Brittany popped open a bottle of champagne that she sprayed all over fans sitting below her luxury box. A lot of people in the area and online seemed to have a huge issue with the disregard she had on the Bills fans below her. People were so upset with her online over the move that she heard the talk and started selling shirts that said Team Brittany on them. While she claims those proceeds went to an anti-bullying foundation, it just all could have been handled differently than how it was. Shortly after that, Jackson was shown on a mechanical bull alongside another woman to get back into the internet's eye, and then got accused of scamming a wholesaler online. He promised to promote them on social media after they sent him some free products, but instead completely ghosted them after receiving said products. He also grew unhappy and depressed when Patrick didn't invite him to his bachelor party and took a lot of his teammates instead. Patrick looking for space, reportedly. All of these things mixed together had other reports coming out claiming that Patrick no longer wanted either Brittany or Jackson to be at any of his games moving forward due to the distraction of having them there. The report also claimed that they were bad for his brand, and another reason why they couldn't be there. Patrick responded on social media by saying, "Y'all just be making stuff up these days," with 3 laughing emojis following closely behind. Brittany herself called the idea quite hysterical, and that people only attack her and the family just because it's cool to do so. Though there's been other times that Patrick has seemingly been disinterested in entertaining his family's antics, including a few times where he didn't acknowledge his brother Jackson during post-game videos and other things like that. Fans were also unhappy and felt that pain that Patrick was feeling when a post-game interview came out of Jackson attempting to steal Patrick's thunder. Patrick was talking about how great the offensive line played in the second half and how they were able to overcome adversity in order to become Super Bowl champions. However, while he was doing so, Jackson was on camera behind Patrick making kissy faces and dancing in front of his own camera to post on social media. Some fans called it embarrassing for their family. Assault charges. Then, most recently, Jackson has been hit with assault charges. This has been the lowest point of this family's downward trend in the past couple of years. Jackson was reported to have assaulted a restaurant owner and waiter in late February. The waiter claimed that Jackson was pushing her out of the way as she was attempting to get into an office in an area that he shouldn't have been in. Later, it was revealed that he forcibly kissed the owner of the restaurant after asking to speak to her privately to talk about the incident involving the waiter from before. The owner was clearly attempting to push him off, but that didn't stop Jackson, who did it multiple times. All of this has just been adding fuel to the fire that Patrick Mahomes is trapped in a family that creates more problems than anything.